Margaret was 68 years old. She had cooked Sunday dinner for her family every single week for 40 years. Roast chicken, roasted potatoes, homemade gravy, every week, without fail. But one Sunday morning her daughter walked into the kitchen and found her mother standing completely still, staring at the cooker. She had forgotten how to turn it on. Her daughter laughed it off. "Mom, you're just tired." But deep down, something felt different. Over the next few months, the family noticed more small things. Mom asking the same question 3 times in 10 minutes. Mom getting lost driving to the supermarket she had visited every week for 20 years. Mom calling her grandson by the wrong name over and over again. Each time, the family told themselves the same thing. She's just getting older. 18 months later, Margaret was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And her daughter said something I will never forget. The signs were there all along. "I am Dr. Tina Price. Welcome to Health After 50. In today's video, we're going to explore the early warning signs of dementia that families often overlook, and what you can do if you're concerned about someone you love. Over the years, I have spoken with many families facing exactly what Margaret's family faced. And the one thing I hear again and again is this: we noticed something was wrong months ago. We just didn't know what to do. That is why I created Health After 50. Because you deserve clear, honest, simple health information. Not complicated medical jargon. Not frightening statistics without context. Just evidence-based knowledge, explained in a way that actually helps you take care of the people you love. So, let's start at the beginning. What exactly is dementia? And what does the science tell us? I want you to imagine your brain as a very busy city. Roads, bridges, traffic lights, all connected, all working together to keep everything moving smoothly. Now imagine that slowly, very slowly, some of those roads begin to crack. Some bridges begin to weaken. Traffic starts getting confused. Messages that once traveled quickly from one part of the city to another now get lost along the way. That is what dementia does to the brain. Dementia is not one single disease. It is the name we give to a group of conditions that damage the brain over time, affecting memory, thinking, behavior, and daily life. The most common type is Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease accounts for approximately 60 to 80% of dementia cases. Today, more than 55 million people worldwide are living with dementia, and experts expect that number to continue rising in the coming decades. But here's something that surprises many people. Research suggests that changes associated with Alzheimer's disease may begin many years, and sometimes even decades, before noticeable symptoms appear. Think about that for a moment. The brain can be changing quietly for years, before a single obvious sign appears. This is exactly why recognizing early warning signs matters, because early evaluation, even before a formal diagnosis, may provide access to treatments, support services, and planning opportunities that can improve quality of life. So, what are the signs families miss most often? Here are 10 early warning signs of dementia. As we go through them, I want you to think honestly about whether you have noticed any of these signs in someone you love. Sign 1. Memory loss that keeps coming back. We all forget things sometimes. Where we left our keys, what we had for breakfast, someone's name at a party. That is completely normal. But the memory loss associated with early dementia is different. It is forgetting things that happened just minutes ago. Asking the same question 3 or 4 times in one conversation, without realizing it has already been asked. Forgetting birthdays or anniversaries they have celebrated for years. The key difference is this. When most of us forget something, we often remember it later. In early dementia, the memory may not come back at all. Researchers have consistently found that repeated difficulties forming and retaining recent memories, often called episodic memory impairment, can be one of the earliest warning signs of Alzheimer's disease. Sign 2. Struggling with things they have done 1,000 times. Think about something your loved one has done confidently for decades. Cooking a favorite meal, paying a bill, playing cards, driving a familiar road. In early dementia, these once automatic tasks can suddenly become confusing, not because they are being careless, but because the brain pathways that made those tasks feel natural are beginning to break down. If someone who once loved cooking is suddenly burning everything, or someone who managed their own finances for 50 years is suddenly overwhelmed by a simple bank statement, please pay attention. Sign 3. Getting confused about time and place. Someone in the early stages of dementia may lose track of what day, month, or even year it is. They may forget where they are, or how they got there. They might wake up convinced it is a different decade entirely. This is not them being difficult. This is the brain's internal clock and navigation system beginning to struggle. Sign 4. Struggling to find words. Have you ever watched someone you love stop mid-sentence, searching for a word they have known since childhood? Or calling everyday objects by the wrong name? Calling a television a picture box. Calling glasses eye things. Calling a grandchild by the wrong name repeatedly. Research has shown that difficulties finding words and naming familiar objects can appear among the earliest detectable cognitive changes in some people who later develop Alzheimer's disease, sometimes years before more obvious symptoms appear. Sign 5. Putting things in strange places. We all misplace things. But in early dementia, things can end up in places that make absolutely no sense. Keys in the freezer, glasses in the kitchen bin, a wallet inside a Wellington boot. And here's the part that hurts families the most. When they cannot find the item, they sometimes accuse family members of stealing it. This is not them being cruel. This is the brain trying desperately to make sense of a memory gap and filling that gap with the only explanation it can find. Sign 6. Making poor decisions. This is one of the most concerning early signs of dementia, and it is one reason older adults experiencing cognitive decline can become vulnerable to scammers and fraudsters. Research suggests that changes in financial judgment, such as difficulty managing bills, making unusual purchases, or becoming more vulnerable to scams, may appear several years before a formal dementia diagnosis. In some people, these changes can be among the earliest warning signs that something is wrong. You may also notice a decline in personal hygiene. Someone who is always well-dressed and well-groomed, suddenly seeming not to care. This is not laziness. This can happen because the brain is losing some of its ability to plan, organize, and initiate daily tasks. Sign 7. Pulling away from family and friends. If someone who used to light up every room has quietly disappeared into their bedroom, if they have stopped calling friends they once spoke to every week, if they have stopped attending church, their club, or activities they once loved, please do not assume they are simply being antisocial. People in the early stages of dementia often sense that something is changing, and they may withdraw because social situations have become confusing, frustrating, or overwhelming. They are not necessarily pushing people away. They may be trying to cope with a world that no longer feels predictable. Sign 8. Personality and mood changes. Dementia does not only affect memory, it can affect emotions, behavior, and personality. Someone who is always calm may become anxious, irritable, or suspicious. Someone who is always confident may become fearful. Someone who is kind and gentle throughout their life may suddenly say things that seem out of character. Research suggests that mood and behavioral changes, including depression, anxiety, irritability, and apathy, can appear during the earliest stages of dementia, sometimes before memory problems become obvious. These changes are not personal. They are often the result of changes occurring within the brain itself. Understanding that can help families respond with compassion instead of hurt. Sign 9. Trouble with vision and spatial awareness. This is one of the least talked about warning signs, and one of the most important. Some people with early dementia develop difficulty judging distances. They may struggle to recognize familiar faces. They may misjudge steps, doorways, or obstacles. They may become more prone to trips and falls. These difficulties are not always caused by eyesight problems. Sometimes they occur because the brain is having difficulty processing visual information correctly. These changes can occur in several forms of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease and Lewy body dementia. Sign 10. Repetition. This is often the sign families notice first, but dismiss the longest. The same story told 3 times in one evening. The same question asked 5 minutes after it was answered. Checking that the door is locked. Again, and again, and again. Repetitive questioning and storytelling are widely recognized as common early signs of Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia. It is not stubbornness. It is not attention-seeking. The brain is genuinely struggling to remember that the question has already been asked, or the story has already been told. Every single time. It feels completely new. Please remember that when patience feels difficult. Now I want to speak to you directly. If anything in this video has stirred something in you, if you have been quietly nodding along, thinking about someone you love, please listen carefully. You are not overreacting. You are not being dramatic. You are paying attention. And paying attention may be one of the most loving things you ever do for your family. Here are 3 steps I want you to take this week. Step 1. Start writing things down. Get a small notebook or open the Notes app on your phone. Every time you notice something unusual, write down the date and exactly what happened. For example, Tuesday, Mom asked 3 times what we were having for dinner, each time as though she had never asked before. These notes are not for frightening yourself. They are information, and when you take them to a healthcare professional, they can become a valuable tool in understanding what may be happening. Step 2. Book an appointment. If you are concerned about cognitive changes, do not ignore them. Speak with a GP or healthcare professional. Bring your notes. Be specific. Be honest. Do not minimize what you have seen because you are worried about upsetting someone. Healthcare professionals need accurate information to help properly assess the situation. Step 3. Ask about a full assessment. A GP may recommend further evaluation. This can include memory testing, blood tests, and in some cases, brain imaging. And here is something very important I want you to remember. Not all memory problems are dementia. Vitamin B12 deficiency can affect memory. An underactive thyroid can affect memory. Depression can affect memory. Certain medications can affect memory and thinking. Infections, particularly in older adults, can sometimes cause sudden confusion. Many of these conditions can be treated, which is exactly why proper assessment matters. Because what appears to be dementia is not always dementia. But you will never know until you ask. I want to tell you something that has helped many families. An early dementia diagnosis is not the end of the story. For many people, it is the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter faced with understanding, planning, support, and knowledge. An early diagnosis may allow access to treatments, support services, and resources that can help improve quality of life. It gives people the opportunity to make important decisions while they are still able. It gives families time. Time for conversations. Time for planning. Time for understanding each other. And time to focus on what matters most. Over the years, I have heard many families say the same thing. I am so glad we acted early. And far too often, I have heard others say, I wish we had done something sooner. Please, be the family that acts early. Dementia is one of the most challenging experiences a family can face. But here is what I know for certain. Knowledge matters. Awareness matters. Compassion matters. And paying attention matters. If this video helped you today, if it gave you clarity, comfort, or simply the confidence to start a conversation, please share it with someone you care about. Because somewhere right now, there is a family watching someone they love slowly change, and they do not yet understand what they are seeing. Your share may help them. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to Health After 50. Every week, I share evidence-based health information, explained in simple, human language, to help you and the people you love live healthier, longer, and with dignity. Thank you so much for watching. I am Dr. Tina Price. And remember, your health is your greatest wealth. Take good care of yourself, and take good care of each other.